all know that weeds are things that we don't want. They reduce our yield, they can reduce the quality of that yield. It can actually be poisonous or injurious to some of our animals, and of course they're unsightly. So we manage weeds in a few different ways, whether that's mowing or herbicide application, but really our best weed management tool is to have a strong, vigorous stand of grass. We really don't have herbicides on the market that can give us good weed control without also killing the clovers in our stand, which of course are very valuable. So this puts a lot of us in a position where we can either spray the herbicide and kill the weeds, or we have to keep the weeds and we also get to keep our clover. And so there's a trade-off there. So we've been fortunate to work with Corteva and test a new product called Proclova. And we have really seen good weed control in our pastures while preserving white clover. There is some injury that occurs. You'll see it kind of just lay over for 4 to 5 weeks, but then it stands right back up and recovers. And the length of that recovery is really just depending on growing conditions at the time. It is not safe to red clovers, and we'll take those out of the stand. And so we need to make sure we identify whether we have white or red clover in our pastures. And some of the common weeds that we've seen controlled really well are buttercups, ragweeds, pigweeds. It does tend to be a little bit weaker on some of the tough to control perennials like milkweeds, hemp dogbane, as well as the woody perennials. So it's going to have a fit, I think, in more of a high quality maintenance role, but it's not going to be that tool that brings us back from a disaster. Proclova is scheduled to get EPA approval the 4th quarter of this year, so I'm hopeful it'll be on the market in January 2021. Corteva also has a new herbicide that is currently on the market called Duracor. Duracor is essentially a shift from Grazon Next. They both contain aminopyrrolid, so very similar weed control. Duracor is going to pick up a couple extra weeds, such as plantains and some of the carrots like poison hemlock and wild carrot. Duracor will kill your clovers, whether they're white or red, but it is a more powerful herbicide. So if we have those tough to control perennials, that's still, I think, going to be the go-to to really kind of reach back and pull back Mother Nature a little bit. Duracor and Grazon Next have the same level of residual activity in the soil. And so if you wanted to reseed clover after a Duracor application, you'd either want to do that starting in the fall after a spring application, or you want to wait until the next spring after a late summer application. Several co-ops in the area have started to offer dry fertilizer impregnated applications, and so they take the herbicide, put it on the fertilizer, and they spread that across the field. I think that's really a win-win for a lot of us because the co-ops are set up to cover more acres that way, so they can get across more ground, and it also saves the producer that application cost of having to apply both a fertilizer and a herbicide. We've seen, and from the co-ops I've talked to, some actually very good results from this, but I think producers should really look closely at weeds they have in the field to make sure that's going to be the right timing for them. The best time to apply your fertilizer may or may not be the best time to apply for the weeds you have in your field. So an example of that would be a weed such as horse nettle. Our best time to apply a herbicide for horse nettle is really in July at full flowering, whereas our best time to apply a fertilizer is going to be more like March. So whatever your weed management issue is in your pastures and hay fields, Extension has a lot of resources to help you tackle that weed problem, whether it's weed identification, publications to help you figure out what is the best way to manage that weed, as well as your local agents. So best of luck with the rest of the season and fighting those pesky weeds.